Hey guys, welcome back to MNA episode 2. Sorry this took so long. It was mostly because I was lazy and I've been a bit demotivated, but yeah, I'll attempt to keep this series going because it's pretty fun to do. And I also get to discover more films and connect with my audience more, which is pretty fun. I only have like 3 films this episode, so again, sorry for taking a month. I really shouldn't have taken this long to make. Also, I'm not rewatching Deadpool and Wolverine for this video. I really just don't want to deal with the annoying backlash again, so if you really want to know what I thought about that movie, watch my video, which I think is still a pretty good look on how I feel, if a little bit rushed and messy. If you don't know how this series works, basically just leave a comment on this video and I'll talk about it in the next episode of MNA. The comments from this video were taken from my last episode, or episode 1 on MNA, and that's basically all you need to know. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, and let's start. Alright, Sad Dinosaur gave me Fury, 2014. I really went into this one with a critical mindset, I'm not sure, but the first hour of this film just came across as a bit pretentious for me. This is probably because of the biggest issue with this film being the characters. Don, who is Brad Pitt's character, grew on me a lot, and I liked Norman from the start, but everyone in this film is kinda just the worst. Some of them are fine and just kinda boring, not the worst, but just characters I don't feel emotional attachment to. And some of these guys are, well, the worst. I assume the film is treating these guys as bad people because of their extreme sexism, but they still have no redeeming qualities. Most of their dialogue comes from constant sexism and bullying of others, so I really don't care when some of them inevitably do die. The most unlikable character in this film being this guy has an apology later in the film, but it doesn't work because he doesn't really do a great job of apologizing, and he's also still extremely sexist from start to finish. I feel like they wrote this character to be as unlikable as possible, but then they couldn't really find a way to make people care about him, so they just threw this apology scene to make us like him. I guess for other issues, the tank shooting Star Wars lasers is really goofy, but it's an admirable risk they took even if it didn't work. Anyways, that out of the way, this movie looks great. The harsh blues and general grime look the film goes for is really effective to fit the tone and characters. I still wasn't really vibing with the film for a while though. A lot of this film focuses so hard on its gore and brutality that it doesn't really have any time to give me any emotional attachment. Besides maybe that one scene with the 2 girls, that was pretty dark. Regardless, the film doesn't really give me any emotional attachment. That is except for Norman, which is probably the best part of this film. He's just a good guy and I find him to be a really great emotional main character. The stuff they do with him during the ending was also super unexpected and a really good way to end this film. I won't spoil it, but it's the best moment in this film and really did make the film a lot better. As I was saying before, I didn't really like the side characters besides Norman and Don, but this ending kinda made me realize those side characters were just background characters for Norman's story and his slow, gradual character arc. Very good stuff. I guess I'll also talk about Don for a bit, which has a great performance done by Brad Pitt, which is expected. I like when he yells at Norman because it reminds me of Terrence Fletcher. Unrelated, but it's really strange how weirdly similar this film feels to Whiplash. Like the ending being super yellow and Don becoming Terrence Fletcher at points. And it came out in 2014. Anyways, it's flawed as hell, but the ending and general story this film is actually trying to tell is very, very good. So I'm gonna give Fury a low 7 out of 10. Alright, Ruinous gave me Hot Fuzz, and oh my god, oh my goodness gracious, this went crazy. This is probably my favorite Edgar Wright film, which I mean, I've only seen 2, being Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver, but still, this was incredible. The constant whooshing effects this movie has is such a great way to explain its entire identity. It's so consistent with its comedy and editing and mostly its cinematography, while feeling and looking like a joke of a movie with its super goofy, semi-low quality style. It's clearly intentional and makes the serious parts of this film so jarring and shocking, but they work since this film is clearly having a silly style to catch you off guard when Edgar locks in and delivers some super dark moments. I also love how these dark elements come together just to be a super silly twist at the end of the film. Such great writing and directing, and I also love these characters. Danny is literally the funniest guy ever, besides the drunk driving. Why did he do that? All these characters are kinda just the worst, but there's a massive reason for it, and it fits with the super goofy tone this film has. Everyone is just so incompetent besides the main character being Nick, who is also just the coolest guy ever. The editing in this film is top tier. The editing for every little montage this film has is so cool and well done. Like, come on, they play Bad Boys 2 while someone gets murdered in fire in the background. I really wish I had more to say on such an incredible film, but it's just really, really funny, well made, well directed, has great action. However, I do have a major issue with this film that drags it down a bit for me. While intentional, the ending fight scene that goes on for like 20 minutes is super hard to follow, since Edgar thought it'd be funny to have 500 camera shots every 5 seconds, which like actually made me dizzy. I get what they're going for, but it's just not for me. Still, the long ending fight has a lot of great moments, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I love this movie. Solid 9 out of 10. Alright, DM gave me Godzilla All Out Attack. I think it's an okay movie. I really don't have a lot to say on this film. I couldn't find any high quality footage online, so I'll make this section brief since it's probably not very appealing to look at 140p footage. It's very cool that this film still doesn't use CGI for the monsters, but I kinda wish they committed a bit more and used no practical effects and only used bodysuits, but it's not the biggest deal and I still appreciate the effort. I don't really care about the human stuff at all. I think the film is fine and kinda just personally uninteresting for me until the final battle, which is actually very good. The fights are fun, the ending is cool, and it all looks really good. And I really like how Godzilla isn't defeated by the big monsters in this movie and is instead defeated by a human. That's just a nice touch, so it's alright, high 6 out of 10. And yeah, that's episode 2. I completely forgot to do the ranking at the end of the video, so here, I'm just gonna voice over it right now. Number 3 is Godzilla All Out Attack, number 2 is Fury, and number 1 is Hot Fuzz. I wrote this like a couple weeks ago and just forgot about it, and now I'm realizing that like I'm 2 months late past the last episode, so yeah, oops. I'm working on a lot of stuff right now, so I didn't really have the time to release this on time, but I am planning on working on bigger projects in the future and actually getting them done on time. I'm planning on trying to release a quote-unquote big or different video at the end of each month, so if you want to know when I upload, that's hopefully when from now on. Regardless, I'm still continuing this series, so yeah, comment movies and I'll talk about them in the next episode. Some people missed my last video and commented late or just commented on previous MNAs, and originally I was gonna avoid those, but I will fit them into the next MNA so that it's bigger and longer than these really short videos. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and this is an epic outro.